The drivers there get given the green light and they will start their parade out onto the circuit, and there you can see your drivers starting on the front row. Dan Alaman and Priyan Bruno, who have absolutely dominated over the course of this weekend. I say weekend, more weekday racing, because it's Monday, Tuesday and Wednesday this weekend ahead of the Formula One Grand Prix in Abu Dhabi. The drivers will have been heading over from Las Vegas, of course, and maybe some of them could be hidden away in this paddock. We just don't know. But I can tell you right now that these drivers are ready to get going. There are eyes all across the world watching these drivers taking part in the first ever Champions of the Future Academy program here at the Alphasan International Sports Resort kart track. Like we were saying, 1.2 kilometers this track, 17 turns. It is a technical, demanding circuit, but all of the drivers have seemed to got to grips with it now by the end of today. The tyres that they're using for this final are the tyres that they used for qualifying 2 on Monday. They'll have used these same tyres over the course of the 3 qualifying heats today, and now they use them in this final. And it is a long final as well. They're not short, these races. 16 laps for the minis, 21 for the juniors, and 25 for the seniors. Certainly a big challenge for these drivers, but right now these drivers just need to focus on getting themselves in the zone, primed and ready to show what they have got to give. It should be a full grid of 34, but I've got a feeling that we have lost 3 drivers, unfortunately. Aaron Buffa, Nasser Nas and Nikita Diazlov, unfortunately, all at the back of the grid in this one, and we didn't see them going out in the qualifying heats today. I'm not sure if they are still here, if they have gone home, which is a big shame if they have, but hopefully they are watching from wherever they are. But there you can see the remainder of the drivers who are still in this one. Still 31 drivers in the chance of taking the win here, and you can see everyone primed and ready to get going for this one. That was Baptiste Augustin, you can see just going past there on your screen is the number 12 of Enna Pizzuto just going through your shot as well. There is Priyan Bruno, you can see, who is starting on the front row. And right now between these drivers, they have had a very up and down weekend. But for your man who polled it in qualifying 2, that was Alessandro Couchot. His qualifying heats were not too bad. He did very well at the start of his races, dropped down a couple of positions here and there, but he starts P3 and he's right behind Dan Alaman at the start of it. There is your race director, Martin Bean, just having a quick chat with our front 2 runners here. And there you go, look at that, Priyan Bruno and Dan Alaman. Clearly the best of friends before they get going racing. Will they be the same as that at the end of this final? So there you can see that Martin Bean will have a quick chat with our 2 front runners on this one. There you can just see some of the drivers. That was Sofia Pavazniana there, just getting ready with balaclava on her head there. She had a fantastic run in qualifying Heat 3, finishing P3 overall, gaining several positions. An absolutely fantastic drive through the field. There you can see near the back of the grid, you can just see there the 37 of Oscar Singh getting ready. There on your screen is Yuvrav Mehta. The number 30 is getting ready, starting 31st on the grid, and as well with the rest of the field as well. Certainly going to be an exciting one, but there you can see everyone is a fan of motorsport and everyone is getting ready to go in this one. Putting his helmet on right there is Mikhail Abubaker. And there you can see getting ready to go racing. That's starting a little further back in the field, 26th place for Mikhail Abubaker. And we will see how they will do when the racing gets going. Right, as we said, 16 laps, these ones. And drivers are feeling focused, ready to go, especially this man. Yesterday took the win in the final and took a near dominant performance all the way throughout. But today it was 2 qualifying heat wins for Dan Alaman. And he is starting this one on pole position. Can he get away with 2 final wins? We will find out when the next 16 laps of racing, due to start in around 6 minutes' time. The driver starting alongside, though, Priyan Bruno, who finished yesterday's final in 2nd position, has had to fight all the way throughout this day. Did take a qualifying heat win today. And the 2nd qualifying heat was absolutely superb driving, and for the rest of them it's been P2, so he secures himself a front row start just on the outside. But he will have to be careful, though, because the driver who put it on pole position in Q2 on Monday starts this race P3 after the qualifying heats today. Alessandro Touchot, who has got the run down in towards turn 1 on the inside line. And we have seen that the inside line is so much better for just making sure you can secure that second place spot. And we've actually seen people going for the race lead through that section as well. Derek Riviera as well starts this one on the outside row of 2. He as well has had a very good up and down day as well in his results. Derek Riviera finishing in 6th earlier on in heat number 1. Heat number 2, Derek finished P4. And heat number 3, Derek finishing a little further down. P6 was the result there, but still very good results. Ollie Warner starting this one on the 3rd row of the grid in P5 as well. The British driver who had up and down results as well. There he is, Ollie Warner on your screen. Finished 4th in qualifying heat 1. It was 6th place in qualifying heat 2, and then in qualifying heat 3, it was a P8. And with those results, it would put him P5 overall, and he would start alongside the driver who finished 3rd in the final yesterday, Leonidas Peruzzi. Leonidas having a very good run of racing. Again, another driver who you need to keep a very close eye on, but again, qualifying heats today struggled just that little bit. In qualifying 1, he was further down the order than what he would like to be. He would find himself all the way down a little bit further in the grid as well. So it wasn't the result he wanted in qualifying heat 1. Qualifying heat 2, though, was a little bit better. Finished P3, so he was happy with that one. And the same for qualifying heat 3. He would finish P4 for Leonidas Peruzzi. That puts him 6th overall. For Sevilla Pavasniana, who's starting this one on the 4th row of the grid in P7. Again, very good races all the way throughout, but nothing better than her final race as well. She finished P8 in her first race, a little further down in the second race. Didn't fully go her way, so she wasn't able to get away with all the good results that she wanted. But in qualifying heat 3, it would be a P3 finish, so absolutely superb finish. Aryan Singh starting alongside as well, the driver in the number 15 kart, also having a superb round of races. Qualified a little further down than she would have liked to. But in the qualifying heats, it went well. It was a P15, P10 actually, I should say, for Aryan Singh in qualifying heat 1. A little further down as well in the next ones, but P7 in heat 2. And then Aryan Singh, again, having another good result, P9, would secure that spot on the grid. 8th place on the outside of row number 4. Liam Carr starts this one 9th place, finished 4th in yesterday's final. He's got Nilis Malik from Spain alongside. They round out the top 10. There is Liam Carr. Probably the happiest driver on the grid, always has a smile on his face and ready to go for this one. And yes, he knows where he wants to finish in this one. And he's got a good chance of doing it. Like I say, he finished 4th yesterday in the final from a ways back. And right now he's starting from 9th, and he's on the inside row. So he has got a good chance of getting away well here as the sun just slowly starts to fade here, despite the fact that local time here is only about 3:30. You can see the clouds have loomed over. There is Nilas Malik, who didn't actually finish anywhere within the top 5 in yesterday's final, so he's got a bit of work ahead of him here. As Ross Upton, the judge of fact, shows the 1-minute board to the drivers. The grid is cleared of mechanics. Obviously, these cuts here are not a jump start. You can start these with a button. There is Ava Lawrence getting ready. The number 25 starting P11 on this one, the driver from the United Arab Emirates. It's got the close company of the 2 Australians, both in front and behind. Conor Mayer behind in P13 and Liam Carr ahead in P9. Alongside Ava is Victoria Farfus from Brazil. The number 18 has had some superb results over the course of today and this weekend, but it all falls down to this one, the final 16 laps that is about to get underway as the grid is cleared. There you can see everyone from Paralympic getting themselves ready. Paralympic providing the chassis this weekend, and TM engines providing the GR3 engines that power the Mini 60s for their final. It's coming up next. Let's take you through the starting lineup. Dan Aleman and Priyan Bruno go from row number 1. Alessandro Touchot and Derek Rivera on row number 2. Oliver Warner and Leonard Spruzzi round out the top 6 on row 3, with Sevilla Pavasniana and Aaron Singh on row number 4. Liam Carr and Nilis Malik go from row 5, from Ava Lawrence and Victoria Pafas on row 6, with Conor Mayer and Farid Saron on row number 7. Pierre Abadivan and Achilles Peruzzi on row number 8. Lorenzo Zucchetto and Enna Pizzuto go from row number 9. Aurelio Longitano and Min Jae Kim go from row 10. They round out the top 20. Kara Singh and Ray Haber go from row 11. Oscar Singh and Veer Chopra round out row 12, with Tatsi Solkestein and Mikhail Abubaker on row 13. Akita Mir and Ari Kallenberg on 14, with Luca Beratil and Francesco Puerta on the 15th row. Yuvra Mehta round out the 31 cut to start this one, but another cut that's struggling to start is this one here. This is Fares Harion, who has not got away. Fares, who was supposed to be starting this one, P14, is in the pit lane at the moment. They are revving the engine. They've got it started, but I suspect there was some trouble getting it away. There we go. Pat comes round to finish their warm-up lap. He will go out in the middle of it and hopefully join them. Now, there's another kart going very slowly. That is Nilis Malik, who is not going very well. Now, Nilis Malik is supposed to be starting 10th in this race, but the kart's going very slowly, and he is well out of position right now. So hopefully Nilis Malik can get that wagon back rolling and back into a decent position. In terms of the virtual championship then, Dan Aleman with the maximum 30 points to his name. Priyan Bruno with the 26, Leonard Peruzzi with the 23, Liam Carr with 19, Conor Mayer with 16, Ollie Warner with 14, Haber with 12, and Anya Singh with 10. But only the top 15 get away with championship points, and right now it's all between Dan Aleman and Priyan Bruno. If Bruno wins this and Aleman finishes second, they're joint on points, but if one of them gets the fastest lap of the race, it might tip the tables. But of course, if they are joint on points, it falls down to wins later in the weekend. Well, that's certainly out of position there for one of our drivers. It's well past the red line, and that is not going to go well. That is Fares Harion, who was just going into position. Well, let's see what happens. We're into the tram lines. We're going round again. We're going round again then for the mini-finals. Drivers not into position, and you saw there Fares Harion in the number 46, and that was a clear overtake past the red line, and if you do that, you are under yellow flag conditions, so we'll need to be careful there when the drivers head back round to make sure they are fully in position and ready to go. Well, we're looking forward to this one. 16 laps. Here's a replay of that. So there you can see the red line with the cone. So you can see the cone at the edge of the circuit. There's the red line. So not in position just yet. And there we go, straight past it and overtaking several karts there. So that is effectively an overtake under yellow flag conditions. So for Fares Harion, might be a bit of bother at the end of this one. Here we go then, take number 2 for Mini 60 final. Back into the slow section here as drivers bring it right down. Everyone in formation. And looks like we're ready to go. There is Alex Powell watching along from the sidelines, the Mercedes-AMG Petronas F1 junior driver. Good to see him here, racing in the Formula 4, racing in Abu Dhabi this weekend. Looking forward to seeing what he can do. But right now, he's watching what's happening out on track, the same as the rest of the world. Welcome to everyone joining us from wherever you are, watching on motorsport.tv, YouTube, Facebook, any social media platform. You are here for the finals, and the finals are about to get underway. Into the tram lines, lights go green, and away they go. Down in towards turn 1. It's a short run into the braking zone of turn 1, but everyone gets through, and crucially, it's Dan Aleman and Priyan Bruno who are 1-2 at the start of this one. We have seen that all the way throughout this as drivers just tuck back in to get back onto the circuit now as they dip down in towards turn 3. But it's a good start from the entire field. You can see there the 15 of Adi and Singh having an absolutely lightning start and is up into P3 now. A brilliant start. It's Alessandro Touchot who's there in 4th place as well, who's dropped back just a little bit, and it looks like it's Leonardo Peruzzi who is up into P number 5 now as they go down in towards turn number 9 into the banking. Absolutely flat out through here into the fastest part of the circuit, into the braking zone of turn 10. Really quick through here, tucking it in as much as he can. We've seen many overtakes in towards 12 here, and we're going to see some more as Leonardo Peruzzi dives to the inside there on Alessandro Truchot and gets up into P4. Brilliant start then from Leonardo Peruzzi, and the same for Aryan Singh, who's there in third place. Out of the final corner that they go, back onto the start-finish straight, and it is Dan Alaman who leads the way from Priyan Bruno. Then it is Aryan Singh, who's gained 5 places on the first lap alone from Leonardo Peruzzi. Alessandro Truchot there in 5th place from Derek Rivera. And then it's Liam Carr, Ava Lawrence, Valis Herreon, and Ollie Warner, who rounds out the top 10. At this moment in time, Dan Alaman would be the champion in Mini 60 with 61 points to his name, because he's currently got the fastest lap as well, so he'd get that 1 extra championship point. But that could all change, because there is still 17 or about 15, 14 laps to go in this race. You can see there that Dan Alaman just focusing there with Priyan Bruno, just saying, right, let's go, let's move, let's just keep pushing ourselves away, and then we'll all decide what happens in the last 4 laps or so. That's probably what you're going to see here as Alessandro Truchot dives to the inside there of Aryan Singh. Singh, who was there in 3rd place, now seeing us all the way down at about P5 now, I think, by the looks of it. So not going all well for Aryan Singh. They will certainly have a tough fight on their hands for all the rest of this race. Back down the start-finish straight they go. And it's Peruzzi up at 3rd. Your classic 3, who you've always seen in that top 3 throughout this. And again, oh, here comes Derek Rivera in the background, and moves up into P4, also getting past Aryan Singh as well. So Singh down into P6 now. Liam Carr will be coming into play. Now Nilas Malik is under investigation. That could possibly be for the start of the race. Not too sure, but we continue to watch these leaders just work together now and break away from the rest of the field. So it's Alaman from Brno, then it's Peruzzi in 3rd place from Truchot, then it's Rivera, Singh, Carr, Lawrence, Harrigan and Warner. Still the top 10. The battle for the race lead, nothing between them. And there will be nothing between them, I think, for the rest of this race. I think they will literally just be line astern for the majority of this one as they make their way back over the start-finish straight now on lap 4, 3 completed. And there you can see just the train continuing to follow here as drivers negotiate this 1.2 kilometre circuit, 17 turns. Very technical and demanding on a driver. There is not much rest time at all around here. As Priyan Bruno now sets the fastest lap of the race, that could be vital there because that would be an extra championship point for Priyan Bruno, and if Priyan Bruno can get up into the race lead as well, that would mean a possible championship as well. But we'll have to find out when they cross the line next and see if that is even possible, but it should be. Well, in towards turn 10 they go. And again, absolutely no change from these two here. And Alaman and Bruno will just continue to work together. Peruzzi still there in 3rd place. Truchot is closed in just that little bit as well. And Rivera still there. Oh, there's a driver that's not gone well at all. That is the 42. That is Mikel Abubakar, unfortunately, who started this one a little further down the field in P26. Out of the cart at the moment. Yellow flags are out on the circuit. We'll keep an eye on it if the race continues for the time being. Dan Alaman from Brno. There's double wave yellows there through the sector. Still racing continues. Alaman now with the fastest lap. That gives him back that extra championship point. And they're up on the feet. They're fantastic to see Mikel Abubakar out of the race, unfortunately, but crucially up on their feet, which is the best thing we could ask for. Well, with the racing continuing, we're halfway through lap 5 now. We're going into the sector now where we saw the incident. Looked like it was at turn 12. But there you can see now everyone just following suit. Alaman from Brno. We've seen them all weekend like this, both of them fighting for the top spot. But it was Alaman who took the win in the final yesterday. If he wins again on this one, he secures the championship. Across the line they go. The gap is increasing as well from Peruzzi behind. It's 1.2. We'll keep an eye on it as well, but Peruzzi not able to close in. Truchot's just right there behind him from Rivera. Still no change there. They have stayed line astern. Any big movers in the field of this one as well? There's been some ups and downs, but the biggest mover at the moment, I've got to give it to Ray Haber, the number 27 from the United Arab Emirates. He is up there in P13 at the moment. But at the moment, still not able to latch onto the back of these two, and no one can seem to match the pace of Dan Alleman and Priyan Bruno around this Al Fassan International Sports Resort kart track. It has been a superb weekend for both of them. Just chopping and changing positions, constantly fighting at the top. They have certainly learnt this track very, very well. You can see there the rubber that is going down on the circuit. Great to see, grip levels increasing, but the tyres ever decreasing in their grip levels as they've been used over the course of these 2 days, used in qualifying 2 on Monday, and they've done 3 qualifying heats now, and now halfway through a final. Alessandro Truchot there started 3rd, now currently 4th, battling away with Leonardo Peruzzi for P3. Peruzzi, who's had a brilliant race here, started 6th, up 3 positions as well, up into 3rd, and now down into 4th place, because it looks like Truchot has got through. So Alessandro Truchot up into P3 now, Peruzzi down into 4th. Still no change at the front here either, and with that still battling away, just ever pulling away here, Dan Alleman and Priyan Bruno. We are probably going to need to wait another few laps before these two start to battle. It's just going to be down to the wire here. And now Priyan Bruno sets the fastest lap of the race, which means that championship point goes back to Priyan Bruno. And he will need that as much as he can to try and beat Dan Alleman. There's confirmation, 1 minute, 0.999 out of the circuit. A very quick time with such used tyres here. A look back further in the field there, you're seeing Koda Singh just fighting through. Koda currently a bit further back in the field as well. That was the battle for about 19th place. It had Min-jae Kim just in front and Nilesh Malik behind as well. Malik, who's dropped down 10 positions, the same as Sofia Pavasniana. Unfortunately, she's dropped down to 17th place, but she is fighting back. She did just get past Kim Min-jae as well. So still making her way through the field. Liam Carley Warner getting past Aryan Singh as well. They've moved up to 6th and 7th place. Pierre Abadivan has moved up into 9th. He's gained 6 places. Ray Haber up to 10th as well, into the top 10. 12 places gained as we watch this battle here. And Truchot back in that 3rd place spot with Peruzzi following. Just trying to latch onto these two, but the gap is extending ever more. It's getting more now. 2 seconds is the gap between the battle for 3rd and the battle for 1st place. And confirmation there, Dan Alleman retaking the fastest lap of the race. 1 minute, 0.972, which means that extra championship point goes his way. It's all going to fall down to these last couple of laps, but we know as soon as they start battling, there is no chance they are going to get the fastest lap. Priyan Bruno needs that fastest lap as well so they don't get joint on points. But right now, it's just a battle between these two drivers. Dan Alleman, Priyan Bruno, all the way through this. They had some serious battling all the way throughout. But right now, it's just all down to these last few laps between these two. On their own level here, they have lost a bit of time to the drivers behind. That's come down now to 1.9 seconds as Leonardo Peruzzi sets the fastest lap of the race. Action still happening further back in the field as well, as they're still going wheel to wheel here. Koda Singh and Baptiste Augustine. That battle still happening for P19 and 20 out on circuit. So there is action all the way through the grid, but they are battling for a position that doesn't involve any championship points. It is only the top 15 that get championship points, and currently in 15th place is Sofia Pavasniana, who is down into P15. Here's a look at the race start again on the left-hand side of your screen. Live feed still there on the right-hand side, and again it was a good start from Dan Alleman and Priyan Bruno, and from there, that's just the case of all it was. They were just, all they needed was the good getaway, and that's what they had. They got away, they latched onto the back of each other, and they've just pushed each other along and have driven away from the rest of the field. It was a great start from Aryan Singh, though, at the start of that race, just straight up into third place. 5 places gained at the start of that race. It was absolutely superb. There has still just been no change between these two. Absolutely in full communication here, pushing each other along. The gap as well has come down just that little bit more. Down to 1.8 now between Alessandro Tuchot and Leonardo Peruzzi. They have changed position again, third and fourth. They're still there in 5th place. Molly Warner, Liam Carr, Aryan Singh, yeah, Abu Divan, and they have her. And it's still Lina Stern. Oh dear, and that was the, wow. That was the incident for Mikhail Abu Baker. And my goodness, the fact that he's on his feet is an amazing thing. And that is just, wow. Karting crashes always look a lot worse than they usually are, but that one itself certainly did look pretty spectacular. And the fact that Mikhail Abu Baker walked away from that one is an incredible feat in itself. So thankfully they are okay, but for these two here, no such dramas. Again, continuing to be Lina Stern. And Dalan Aman is all fine, and I do have confirmation that Mikhail Abu Baker is completely fine, so it is good to hear, which is why we saw the replay there. We wouldn't show the replay usually if the driver wasn't okay, so confirmation the driver was okay and on their feet. Well, the race continues, and well, these two here are still scrapping away for third place. The gap's opened back up to 2.2 seconds. And Alessandro Tuchot and Leonardo Peruzzi still battle away. You can see them just closing in a little bit there. And actually, it looked like Peruzzi was going to go for the move there into turn number 7. And there is a move for turn number 7, and it goes through. Still battles happening further down the field as well. This was Luca Berafil just getting through there a little further down in the order. That was on Francisco Cuesta, the number 39. That's for 23rd and 24th on the circuit. So still having good fights all the way throughout. But for Alaman and Bruno, still Lina Stern. Now, there is not much time left in this race, so I suspect that we may start to see some racing between these two, because they do not want to leave it to the last moment. But Priyan Bruno has to be careful here, because he has not got the fastest lap of the race just yet. That goes to Dan Alaman. Dan Alaman with the best lap, 1 minute .673, meaning he would have the extra championship point. So Priyan Bruno needs to get that fastest lap and win this race to be champion. And right now, that is going to be a tall order. Down the hill into 8. Dan Alaman there in the lead. He won yesterday in the final. He needs to win this one as well to secure that top spot. But his main rival and his friend, Priyan Bruno, is right behind him as they go down in towards the twisty section now. Absolutely nothing between them. But Bruno needs this fastest lap. Let's see what Bruno does at the end of this one. If he gets the fastest lap at the end of this lap, I expect that we'll see an attack for the lead. Across the line they go. And it is a new fastest lap for Priyan Bruno. It's a 1 minute .663. This is all he needs now. So Priyan Bruno with the fastest lap gets that extra championship point. He's got that. But now he needs to get the position. He needs to get the position here on Dan Alaman. Their confirmation of the time. But Dan Alaman continues to break away. The gap's opened up just that little bit more now. It's nearly 0.2 of a second as they battle away. Now Bruno cannot allow Alaman to get the fastest lap here, and Alaman is pushing as hard as he can now. If Alaman gets the fastest lap on this one, he might be okay. But it's all falling down to these last few laps now between these two drivers. They have been chopping and changing all weekend long. It's always been these two here, Dan Alaman and Priyan Bruno, around this 1.2 kilometre circuit. But who is going to get it at the end of it? Out of the final corner they go. They go on to the final lap now, and Dan Alaman retakes the fastest lap of the race. Dan Alaman takes it, he secures the fastest lap, but again, Priyan Bruno could get it on this last lap, but it will be too tough. It'll be too tough to do it, because if Priyan Bruno needs to overtake, he will scupper his time. He will not be able to get the fastest lap of the race. So even if Priam Bruno gets past, I don't think he'll secure it. I think it would still go the way of Dan Alaman, but again, miracles could happen. Priam Bruno in the slipstream, tucks in as hard as he can. Big look over the shoulder there for Dan Alaman. He is half a lap away of being the first Mini 60 Champions of the Future Academy Program champion. And again, in towards turn 12, and he goes defensive. There's no chance he'll get the fastest lap now for Bruno. So Priam Bruno, it's all going to be about if he can take the win on this one. He'll get the top spot on the podium, but he won't get the championship. Into the final corners they go. They switch back move here, potentially from Priam Bruno. They go wheel to wheel, but it's not going to be enough. It's Dan Alaman. Dan Alaman for Switzerland across the line. He wins. He takes it. The championship and the double final win here this midweek in Abu Dhabi. He's done it. Champions of the Future Academy Program Mini 60 champion. The first driver to do it, and it goes to Dan Alaman. What a drive. What a drive. Priam Bruno, I take your hat off to you. You tried your hardest on that one. You had the fastest lap at one point, at several points. You were right behind him all the way. You tried to get the switch back. It didn't go your way, but you can certainly hold your head up high, because what a drive. Leonardo Spruzzi takes third place. Again, the same podium we saw yesterday. Dan Alaman, Priam Bruno, and Leonardo Spruzzi. They secure a huge amount of trophies and a huge amount of respect from the rest of the grid. Alessandro Touchot, his best effort there, could finish P4. Ollie Warner rounding out the top 5. There's a look then at the provisional classifications at the end of that one. Danik Rivera finishing in P6 as well from Liam Carr. Anian Singh, despite the amazing start, would drop back down to original starting spot of 8th. From Pierre Abadivan, 6 places gained. Rehaba with 12 places gained finishes in P10. From Ava Lawrence, Oscar Singh from Lorenzo Zucchetto. Oscar Singh gaining 11 places in that one as well. Solid drive. Aurelio Longitano finishing in 11th place from Achilles Peruzzi in 15th. A superb drive. And for that man there on your screen, Dan Alaman from Switzerland. That is a superb weekend of racing. 2 final wins. A maximum championship points with fastest lap of the race as well. And he comes away a champion here. He wants a high five. Dan thinks he wants his helmet. Brilliant stuff there. The team celebrates. And Dan Alaman can now relax, and he can enjoy the next 2 finals while he waits for the podium presentations. Thumbs up from Dan Alaman at the end of that one. A superb drive. The cleanup job will happen now out onto the circuit, as you can see there. Mikhail Abubakar and Fares Halion. Some of the retirements out on circuit. The same with the 3 non-starters, Nikita Diavlyov, Nasser Nas, and Aaron Buhofa. Unfortunately not starting the racing here this evening. But for Dan Alaman, a superb effort. And he will check over the lap times and the data just to see how his fellow drivers have done. So Alaman then with 61 points then is your champion, provisionally of course, as we look at some of the highlights from that race. And again, great getaway for Dan Alaman at the start of that one. Just drove away. The same for Priam Bruno. Both of them knowing exactly what they needed to do, and just drove away from the rest of the field all the way throughout. From third downwards, it was a fight though for Anian Singh, who managed to get up into third place on the first lap. A superb start for Anian Singh, and will continue to drive well until unfortunately dropping back to original starting spot of P8. There you can see Leonardo Peruzzi going down the inside of Alessandro Touchot. And that was the move for 4th place. There again was the move from Touchot on Singh. And Danik Rivera getting involved as well. This battle would stay the same also. Anian Singh just leaving the door open there and allowing Danik Rivera to get through. The dramatic roll there further down for Mikel Abubaker. Absolutely amazing. They are okay and on their feet, but you can imagine a little bit shaken. A very dramatic accident there, but unfortunately not the way you'd want to end a race. Racing would continue all the way throughout. The battle for third still raged on. Peruzzi and Alessandro Truchot going wheel to wheel, lap after lap. But it would all fall down to these two here. The battle for the fastest lap and the battle for position as well. For Dan Aleman, he certainly got that fastest lap when he needed to. This was the last attempt at trying to get past for Priam Bruno, trying to get the switch back. It was close, but just that clip of the curb, and that he couldn't get the power down out of the corner, and it would go the way of Dan Aleman across the line. And look what it means, slapping the side pod there as he crosses the line. A superb drive and a fantastic week of racing. And look at that, you can see there what it means to the drivers. The first of many of the Champions of the Future Academy that is going to be taking place over the coming months. And for Dan Aleman, he congratulates Priam Bruno. Obviously, Priam devastated, couldn't get the win, but still a second place in both the finals and the championship.
We'd now like to welcome Riccardo Tazzoli onto the podium, the International Business Development Manager, to present the third place trophy to our third place finalist, Leonardo Peruzzi. A brilliant drive from Leonardo Peruzzi. Would now like to welcome onto the podium Team Principal for Parolin, Marco Parolin, to present the second place trophy to Priam Bruno. And finally, a brilliant race all the way throughout this weekend. Please welcome onto the podium Mercedes-AMG Petronas F1 Team Driver Development Advisor Gwen Legrue to present the first place trophy to Dan Aleman. What a final that was. And if we could get our photographers up to get the photos, please. Drivers, raise those trophies up in the air for me, please, as high as you can. And big smiles on your face. Big round of applause, please. And if we could get our top three onto the top step of the podium, and we'd like to invite our dignitaries onto the podium as well to join our drivers for the photos. So if we could get Gwen, Marco and Riccardo onto the podium, please, to join our top three on that top step. And members of the media, feel free to come forward to collect your photos of our Mini 60 finalists of day 3 of racing here for Champions of the Future Academy programme. Please, one big last round of applause for your Mini 60 finalists.